Moving on to our next chapter, which is the structure and function of skin. Skin may seem that it is just a covering around a body, but actually if we observe a cross section of this skin, we will observe that it has a very distinct layers, and these distinct layers are formed of epidermis, which is the outermost covering of a skin, the dermis, which is the innermost covering of the skin, and another layer which is a subcutaneous layer. So moving on to all these layers, first is the epidermis, which is the outermost layer of the skin. This epidermis, it is formed of this stratified epithelium, and this stratified epithelium is further formed of various other layers. The first layer, which is formed of a stratified epithelium, is a stratified cornified epithelium, which is also known as stratum corneum. This stratum corneum, which is the outermost layer of the epidermis, it is formed of a pile of layers of cells. It is piled up into various layers, and these layers of cells are actually dead cells. So these are worn out tissues or dead cells which form this stratified cornified layer or stratum corneum layer. The another layer which lies beneath this stratum corneum is a stratum granulosum, which is form of a granular layer. It is again formed of 2 or 3 layers, and it lies beneath the corneum layer. What is the function of this granular layer? Actually, this layer is known to replace the worn out cells in the cornified layer with the new cells from the granular layer. Actually, the new cells, they are not formed in the granular layer, they are only meant to provide a path so that the cells which were newly formed in this layer, spinosum, so that these cells can move to cornified layer. So granulars, it just moves the cells from this layer to this layer. It is formed of 2 or 3 layers which are actually thickened cells. However, the cornified epithelium cells, they are the thin layer of dead tissues or dead cells. The last layer, which is the stratum spinosum, it is formed of various piled up layers of cells, and these layers of cells are known to divide continuously so that new cell divisions can occur and new cells can form which can replace the dead cells of the stratum corneum. So this is all about the outer layer of the epidermis. One pigment which is known as melanin, it is formed in the inner layer of the epidermis. Inner layer of epidermis is known to form a pigment which is known as melanin. Actually, melanin is a pigment which represents the color of any organism. This melanin is known to protect this our skin from the harmful UV radiation. The higher the quantity of melanin, the darker the color. So the color which is of the human beings, which is from light brown to dark brown, it is all due to this quantitative presence of this melanin. The more the concentration, more the quantity of this melanin pigment, the darker is the color of the organism. So this melanin, it is also known to protect our skin against harmful UV radiations, because whenever we are exposed to skin, the skin produces more and more of the melanin and tans. So this is what a melanin pigment is. Now, as the cells, they divide in the beneath the layer of the epidermis, which is outer layer, and the stratified epithelium layer, which the cells of the stratified spinosum, they divide continuously, and so that they can replace the cells upward. When these cells, the upward cells of the cornified epithelium, they are replaced by the cells from the spinosum or the granular layer, at that time what happens, they produce keratin. The keratin, it is a transparent and waterproof substance which is also formed during the replacement of the dead cells by the newly formed cells. Now the next layer, which is dermis. Dermis is actually a middle layer of cells, and it is called as true skin because it is the only layer beneath which actual vital structures of the cells or vital structures of the skin are located. So it is known as a true layer of the skin. However, epidermis is not a true layer. It contains a dead network of blood vessels. This is again a contrasting feature of dermis, that it consists of a blood vessels. It has a good supply of blood vessels, whereas epidermis, it lacked the supply of blood vessels, so it has no blood vessels, it lacked the supply of blood. Also, there are some collagen fibers which are present in the dermis, which are the proteinaceous fibers, collagen fibers. They run through the dermis so that it can provide strength and elasticity to the skin. So this is one of the feature of the dermis. There are some glands which are sebaceous glands even. The sebaceous glands, they are protruding from the hair shafts. I will show you this in the diagram. The hair shafts, they secrete a oil. There are sebaceous glands. There are 2 or 3 types of sebaceous glands, and these sebaceous glands, they secrete a oil, and we call that oil as sebum. This sebum, it moves through the duct around the hair shafts, and out of the pore at the surface of skin. So this is the oil which is produced at the bottom of the hair shafts, and this oil is meant to lubricate the keratin layer. Keratin layer, I have told you that it is a transparent layer, and what it is known to, it is known to provide a strength in elasticity. And what oil is supposed to do? Oil is just supposed to lubricate the keratin layer of the epidermis, so that it makes the skin more waterproof. Already keratin makes it waterproof. The oil which is secreted by the sebaceous gland, it makes the skin more waterproof and helps the water loss from the body, so that water is not easily evaporated, water is not easily lost from the body. So this function is done by the oil which is secreted, and it is known as sebum. There are some sweat glands which secrete sweat, and so that the body can get rid of excess salt, excess water and other waste products from the blood. So this is what sweat glands were known to do. So this is a complete diagram. This is a outermost layer which is epidermis. Below epidermis you will see a middle layer which is a dermis, and then you have a subcutaneous tissue or subcutaneous layer. So these are the three main layers of a skin. This is a complete hair shaft, this is a hair follicle and this is a hair shaft. So these are the hair shafts, and I have told you that bottom or the base of these hair shafts contain some glands which are sebaceous glands. So these are the sebaceous glands. This is eccrine sweat gland, another type of sweat gland, and apocrine sweat gland. Apocrine sweat gland and eccrine sweat glands are different because of their location into the different tissues and different cells. So they have a particular tissues on which they are located and particular tissues where they are not located. So on the basis of those, these are differentiated into two parts, eccrine and apocrine sweat glands. So these are the sweat glands, and this is a melanocyte. Melanocyte is a cell which is continuously producing a dark colored pigment which is melanin, and this is a stratum corneum. This is a stratum corneum which is a conified dead layer of cells, and beneath that you will see stratum germinatum. Germinatum is that cell which is basal layer and which is actually dividing continuously, and it is acting as a source of new cells. So this is how a skin looks like, and this is a complete section of a skin. Now deepest skin tissue, as I have told you, is hair. This is the deepest tissue of skin, which is a subcutaneous tissue. So what is subcutaneous tissue? It is the deepest skin layer. What it contains? It contains all the fats. So the fat deposits are present in the subcutaneous layer. Whether it is a male or a female, whether it is a fat person or it is a thin person, they will have this subcutaneous layer, and they will have some fat droplets or some fat molecules. So this bottom layer, what it is known to do, these fat molecules or the fat sections which are present beneath the subcutaneous layer, it is known to provide insulation to the body against heat and cold weather. So it acts as a cushion to protect the body against injuries also. Whenever our body ages, at that time some fat is lost from this layer, and that time the skin shrinks unevenly and causes some wrinkles in the body. So this is because of the shrinkage of the subcutaneous layer. Now what are the problems of any skin? There are different types of problems like acne problem, pimples problem, warts, moles. So these are various different problem issues which are on the skin, and these skin problems are most common among adult and teenagers. So the first problem is of acne, which is the most common complexion complaints, especially among teenagers. So this is what a blackhead looks like. Why do we have blackheads? This is because the follicle which this is a sebaceous gland. Whenever the sebaceous gland secretes more and more sweat, and this secretion is so big that this follicle gets enlarged and the glands get enlarged, at that time this enlargement of the follicle leads to the formation of a black colored substance, or it looks like a black colored pigment, and this is known as the blackhead. Now pimples. How pimples are known to appear? Pimples appear because of the sebaceous gland, it enlarges and secretes more substances, and the blood supply is enhanced here because of the growth of bacteria. So this becomes an infected area because of the growth of a large number of bacteria. It also leads to formation of a pus, which is again cells, a large number of cells, macrophages and various other immune system cells which are known to be present here, and this leads to formation of a pimple. Now acne scars are again the same structures which are occurring due to the complexion complaints. What are boils? Boil is a serious infection problem which is known to invade all the layers of the skin. And what happens in boil? Boils can occur alone, it can act in isolation, and even it can act in bunches or in groups everywhere around the body. Similarly, like pimples, boils should never be squeezed, because we should never squeeze pimples, and we should never squeeze these boils too. These boils, they require medical attention, and a doctor can drain pus from the boil and use antibiotics so that to control the bacterial infection which is present over the boil. Now this is how a boil looks like, where there is abscession of the skin. Abscession is a removal of the skin layers. So this is how abscession of skin occurs, and this is how a boil happens on our skin, which can occur alone or which can happen in a group, so that a large area of our skin is invaded. Warts. Warts are actually raised skin growths on the skin. These are raised protrusions or raised growth. Warts are usually caused by a virus, and this virus can be from anywhere, it can be picked up from anywhere. At present, there is no drug which is present to prevent these warts, and these warts can grow anywhere, but they are most common on face and hands, and these warts actually spread from one person to another, and warts actually they are transmitted from one person to another, and they usually disappear spontaneously. And however, if warts are irritating, they begin to multiply rapidly, and doctor can remove them by simple and painless procedure with which they can be removed, because they are actually very deadly and very transmitting. The next are the skin spots. Sometimes you must have observed that some people have some white spots on their hands or on their fingers or neck, or even on arms or various body parts. So what are these white spots? We call them vitiligo. These are some white patches where these are those patches where skin is not able to produce melanin. So melanin is that pigment which provides a dark color or a light brown color to the skin. However, those parts of the skin which are not able to produce melanin due to lack of melanocytes or death of melanocytes, at that sites there are white spot or white patches which are known as vitiligo, and prescription drugs are available to treat this disorder. This is how a vitiligo looks like, where white patches are there, and these white patches represents that there is no synthesis of melanin on these areas. Now moles. There are some overgrowths of skin where there is excess melanin pigment. So there are some parts which are dark brown or very highly stained parts of the body, parts of a skin, and these parts are there which have a high concentration of pigment. So most brown moles range in color from light to dark brown, and they are harmless, they are not harmful. But however, if you have black or blue-black moles, they are known to be dangerous, and they can develop into a deadly skin or cancer at any time. So these moles, these acne or whatever these all are the complexion issues which are present, and this is what a complete presentation is all about our skin.